In this video, we'll be taking a look at the ATTE tank gunner for the Revenge of the Sith line. This is an action figure that's been in my collection for a long time. He's one of the very first Clone Trooper action figures I ever got. He wasn't the first or second one, but he was definitely in the first 5. I got this for Christmas in 2005, so he's been a big part of my collection for many years now. And he's the only tank gunner I have at this time. I wouldn't mind getting several of these guys. It's a very nice Clone Trooper, and I've talked about this sculpt before. It is a very unique Clone Trooper sculpt. And between this one and the 501st Legion clone that was also released in the Revenge of the Sith line, that was named the Tactical Ops clone, they have some of the best hip articulation I've ever seen for a Clone Trooper. And unfortunately, it's never been replicated since. I even think with the newest Clone Trooper sculpt, the hip articulation on that is nowhere near as fluid as on this one. It's really incredible that 20 years later, Hasbro hasn't really replicated that as of yet. And the posability on it is very nice as well. So I think this is another concept art clone. I don't recall seeing these guys in the movie at all. I think they may have been, of course, they're supposed to be attached to the ATTE. I think they might be for the turbo tank as well. And of course, we didn't really get any close-up shots of an ATTE. And the few scenes we saw of a turbo tank were more far away or distance. We never really saw the inside of it. But still, I'm glad Hasbro got this out. It's one of my personal favorite clones, and I have nothing but great things to say about him. Let's just take a closer look at him. So this distinguishable accessory on his helmet, very rarely do I actually keep him displayed with that on. And in fact, I never really displayed him with it until the last couple years. It is a little tricky to get on his helmet, and it is a separate accessory. In fact, we'll just take it off right now. Hopefully we can take it off. Seems to be a little stuck on him. Yeah. This is usually how I kept them displayed for many years. You could treat this guy as just a normal clone or a normal Phase 2 clone if you wanted to. And this shoulder pauldron here you can take off as well. Might be a little tricky to get off because it's not a piece that's really meant to be taken off. You might have to pop his arm out. So pretty much all white armor. Not a whole lot to say about it. As you can see, he's not as bright white as he used to be. It's definitely much more faded, but mine's always been kind of faded. Unfortunately, he's not really yellowed, though. I will point out another thing. Mine's always kind of had a bum knee on him. As you can see, if I articulate that, the joint wants to pop out. I'm not sure if that's a common problem with this particular clone in general, or if it's just something that's on my sample. Well, let me know in the comments if you have this guy and you've had similar problems with some of his knees before. The other knee's perfectly fine on him. And that was always about as far as I can get. Speaking of the articulation, though, he does have a ball joint at the head, swivel shoulders, which are perfectly fine on this, swivel elbows, which, again, it's alright. You can get them in a shooting pose, so that's the main thing. Swivel wrists, no articulation in the waist, which it's not that big of a deal. But, of course, the hinged hips, which I said are some of the best hip articulation I've ever seen on an action figure, at least for clones. But it's really impressive. And hinged knees and hinged ankles. So interesting combination of articulation. In this case, Hasbro went all out on the legs, when more often than not they usually go out on the waist on up. In terms of accessories, obviously his helmet, which I did show off a minute ago with the removable helmet. Standard Tamora Morrison head sculpt, which at this time was still a very new head sculpt. The tank gunner cover, basically I think it's supposed to be like a shield that goes over his helmet. And like I said, it can be kind of tricky to get this on, trying to plug it into place and actually keep it on. Sometimes it doesn't look right either. Then he does have a kind of a hidden accessory. You can take his shoulder armor off to reveal a Republic symbol. Not sure why they did this with clones every now and then, but they did. It just plugs into place there. The 501st clone has that, and I think there may be a few others as well. Maybe it's to signify like a clone officer or something like that. And it's just for the one, not this one here. Standard DC-15 blaster carbine. Nothing that can really be said about that. And then the Scout Trooper pistol. Interesting that they included one with this, but they did. We've gotten lots of these from action figures over the years. We still get some every now and then. Then he does have an environmental display stand, which this is the only one I have of this kind. It's very nice. And I'm sure that's supposed to be a Kashyyyk setting. Like you have the tree here, and then some of the vegetation. You have the peg right there. And he looks really nice on it. I miss Hasbro doing these environmental stands. See how he looks there? It doesn't really fit in with any of the others though, and I don't think you can really add stands together to make like a platform or anything like that. It's very neat how Hasbro used to do things like this. It's a shame they still don't. You think they could do an accessory pack of things like this. And that's pretty much it in terms of accessories. Paint on him looks pretty good, very crisp. But I think that's all I can really tell you about the ATT Tank Gunner. We'll bring out his other counterpart that's sharing tooling, the Tactical Ops clone, or the 501st clone. I'm not sure why they named him the Tactical Ops clone. Maybe it was like another concept art thing. But that is what this clone went by in the Revenge of the Sith line. And I got both these guys for Christmas in 2005. So there's some of my original clones. Happy they're a part of my collection. So would I recommend this guy for yours? I totally would, and he's very affordable to get a hold of. He has been featured in several videos online of like top 10 clones for under $10 and things like that. And that still holds true today. I was just checking eBay earlier and I see some brand new samples of this guy for like $10.99 and free shipping, so not a bad deal at all. I think he's one of the best clone troopers of his era, and he still holds up very nicely today. Even compared to the modern clones we get, I think this guy blends in great. Sure, he's not the most articulated in the world, but he does have some of the best articulation I've ever seen on an action figure, like with the hips there. And he's just a very nice clone. I really appreciate that he's a part of my collection. But anyways, that concludes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned for plenty more reviews in the future. There'll always be more to come. If you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate all your support, and check out some links in the description if you haven't done so already. And as always, thanks for watching.